about him being a coach when you were a player? What's your like?
Yeah, PJ was great. I think thinking back to early 2000s, he was great. I mean, he was a reference point at that point. I mean, he guy that played some good ball and been in different spots. So I was picking his brain. He's always available, always with lots of passion as he is now. And I feel like I learned a good deal from being around Coach Fleck, and I appreciate our relationship. To this day, when I see him, it feels like we're just picking up where we left off. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's that's impactful. I mean, I think that you're gonna take 70 snaps. You're gonna, on a good day, you're gonna have 10, 12 maybe catches on a really good day. On an average day, you're gonna touch the ball 5, 6, 7 times. So, what are you doing when you don't have the ball, right? So I think I appreciate him saying that. I think the guys work hard at adding value when they don't have the ball in their hands. And I think not only Marvin, but the rest of the room, we feel a great deal about that and helping running backs. And when other guys have the ball, we're blocking for them, right? You've seen that a lot this year. So I appreciate that comes off the film. Oh yeah, I mean I think we've grown a lot in the perimeter blocking game. I think that we're pretty willing, but when push comes to shove at the point of attack, we had to do a better job of executing at times. But they've really bought in. They want to be. They've shown that, and must continue to see that. Well, I would say it's just the natural growth of a young athlete becoming a grown athlete, if you will. When you're young, the body of work is not there, and usually you need a lot of body of work to build trust. I would say he kind of defied that. He did a good job making corrections the first time he made a mistake. He tried to prevent a lot of mistakes, which he did a good job of. I can't speak enough about him. I think he's doing a great job. I would say that, he really was rolling through camp, through the off season. He kind of got dinged up coming out of camp, and then it took him probably until about the bye to kind of get healthy again. And once that happened, he kind of picked up where he left off, and he's really done a good job. I expect him to carry that momentum through the rest of this year and then in the next year.
What have you thought of the buzz for Marvin?
I think big testament to him on the hype. I think that it also is a big testament to this university and this offense and what people think of, the level at which we're playing. I think that, he's been a major focus for our offense. He's still productive, even with Mech down and Julian banged up, and so I appreciate it. I don't get caught up in it too much. He's very deserving because of the work being put in, but I know, and I'll echo what he says. He's here to win championships, and that's been our focus in our league.
Would you find some kind of this is not a position
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, you hope, at times that these awards aren't just stat awards. There's a lot that goes into things, and if it's just a stat award, they should just call it that. But if you're trying to find the best player in college football, obviously I'm biased, but he's the best player in college football. And if the Blitnikoff is looking for the best receiver in college football and not just stats, so I can't turn down the stats. Sure you can. I mean, so it just depends on what you're looking for. And that's just the reality of the postseason awards you're talking about. But right now we're focused on this team, these championships that are coming up, and we got some major games on the horizon.
Right, just in your experience, both as a player and now as a coach, when you have a significant career, how long do you start to take?
It's a combination of physically being able to do it, and then it's a mental thing there to it, and then I feel some things. Do I give it weight? Do I ignore it? Like, is it trying to tell me something? There's such a mental conversation usually going on. I feel like there was, to make sure I wasn't, re-injuring it or exposing myself to more injury, which doesn't help the team either. I just want to help the team. So there's a large conversation that goes on in your head. You just want to play football. You just want to feel good enough, or at least be very certain I can't make it worse. Right? That's the big one. And but it can be challenging. I mean, you're trying to compete against people that are, I wouldn't say feel good, but are healthy and are flying around, and you have this as a hindrance, and you're trying to play at your top level, and it can be tough. So a lot of credit to guys that fight through injuries, but that's part of the game. It's part of the game.
How was the Mecca, in your opinion? How was the back with somebody?
Yeah, I think Mac's a warrior. I mean, there's, I wouldn't, he could tell you where he feels, but, I think that whether he says, oh, I'm good, I'm 100%, I mean, the reality of it is you made me feel good enough to play, which I appreciate, but you can't tell me, you feel as good as you did in January, right? So, I think he's battling, he always will, and it's a huge testament to him on the way he's been playing coming off that injury. Yeah, I would say, I feel like, Cade has always had strong hands, and I think that at times he didn't reel in the ball in the past. He has consistently done that at a high level, which everyone knew he was capable of, but it's testament to him and Coach Bailey of getting the best out of the person, because that's all the athlete wants to do is play at their very best and do what they're capable of. And I feel like good coaches, great coaches, get the most out of their players, and that's really the good sign. At the end of the day, players make plays, not coaches. So players deserve all the credit, but as coaches, we just try to maximize what they're capable of, and if you're doing that, it's a lot of credit for the coach. But tons of credit to Cade. He was always capable, and he's doing that at a high level day in, day out.
What do you like about that two running back set there with Chip? And you're obviously double team a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, Chip, that package is very versatile. We can do a lot of things out of it. It's continuing to grow. We have a lot of plans for it, and the ability of those guys to do multiple things is a great asset for us. As far as, I mean, we can get them in the game whenever we want. So I think that it just comes down to game plan and what we feel like we're trying to take advantage of, and what our plan of attack is. But it's always readily available. It's funny when we pull up old film and just watch him as a freshman sometimes, you just hear Marvin out. I mean, he sees the difference. I wouldn't say, I might be like, ew, what is that? And he'll be like, what do you mean? And defend himself. But he obviously came in with great talent and great ability. It was just, the ability for himself to continue to fine tune and enhance, right? He had a phenomenal foundation, but every guy grows. No one shows up, the same and leaves the same. Like it's a false narrative. So a lot of work's been put in. I know Marv sees incremental growth every day, every week, and along with the rest of the guys. And it's kind of hard to see when you're in it. When you go back and see the old film, you're like, is that me? Kind of thing. And so we've had some of those experiences when I was going to be in the room watching him, and he's watching himself, or he's watching Chris, or Garrett. He's like, oh my gosh, that was Chris, and it's nothing against Chris, sorry. But it's always fun to look back at old film.
Brandon, last question. Do you know if Julian is running the
Oh yeah, I mean, anyone that's capable of leading is going to walk. You don't want to be in a position and walk or don't walk and then decide to leave. So I'd rather you walk twice than never walk at all.
And then your two seniors that are walking, Xavier and Julian, very different paths. What would you say about those two different paths they were on? How much do you use those?
Yeah, widely different paths, but it's amazing, how much they're alike, how they've grown. I mean, the amount of things we asked Julian to do on the perimeter, and the amount of things we've asked Xavier to do in all facets of the team is pretty remarkable. And I know when there's in a big situation with a big spot, those are two guys that we're going to rely on at a high level. So that says the most about them and their family, the way he was raised, and the amount of work they put in.